Hello and welcome to The Buzz. We've had our first full week of high school football, and with it came Labor Day, because we all had such a laborious week enjoying football and volleyball and cross country and softball and whatever else was on the menu. And we're going to kick it right to Eddie Evans for our first volleyball version of Eddie on the Spot. Take it away, Eddie.
Volleyball season is in full force, and the Norfolk Catholic volleyball team has began the season at 5-1. The Knights' latest win came Tuesday night at home against Lutheran High Northeast. Norfolk Catholic, after a slow start, losing the first set 18-25, won the next three over the Eagles 25-14, 25-18, 25-22. The two teams met on the volleyball court for the 8th time since 2009. Lutheran High won the previous 7 meetings. One might not realize, but this wasn't Norfolk Catholic's first ever win over Lutheran High Northeast. The Knights recorded wins over Lutheran High back in 1998 and 2000. Reporting from the Norfolk Catholic Activity Center, I'm Eddie Evans from the Norfolk Daily News.
Hey, thanks a lot, Eddie. And you know, Taylor Martinez wasn't the only one who brought home a little bit more confidence and poise in the pocket over the past summer. I also did. As you can tell, I'm standing a little bit more still than I have in weeks previous, despite this movement. One player that makes a lot of movement and does a little shimmying and shaking is Lutheran High Northeast Shaka Taylor. Taylor awoke the Eagles last week. They were struggling early in their game with Fremont Bergan. He had an 82-yard kickoff return that ignited the offense in a 34-23 win over the Knights. But it wasn't just the kickoff return for Shaka Taylor. He had a 40-yard touchdown reception from Kenny Blank late in the game that kind of sealed it. And it was pretty exciting. The Eagles jump up to second in this week's Daily News rating thanks to Boone Central Neumann Grove's 21-7 win over Pierce. And if you haven't heard of Boone Central's Tanner Mazur, I think you're going to hear a lot about him as the year goes on. He was 15 years old at one point in his life, I'm sure. But he carried the ball 15 times for 70 yards and 3 touchdowns. He also was 8 of 15 passing for 77 yards in the Cardinals' win over Pierce. But the strength of this year's Cardinal football team just might be the defense. Anytime you can hold Pierce to around 100 yards on the ground, this is Pierce. They run the ball. That's what they do. Obviously, they had to throw the ball a little bit Friday night, but the Boone Central defense limited that rushing offense of the Blue Jays. But Pierce, well, they're a young team. Boone Central, on the other hand, is experienced. Pierce has a lot of first-year players in the lineup this year, and Coach Mark Bramer thinks that as the year progresses, they'll continue to get better.
We're having to bring guys up into play who played mainly freshman, sophomore ball and JV ball, And so we just got to continue to teach and coach and, keep our expectations high, and we're going to be okay.
They say you can tell a lot about how much a team improves from its first game to its second game and just how good that team is. If that's the case, Norfolk Catholic is pretty darn special. And it really started with the passing game. In their season opening win over Columbus Lakeview, maybe it was a communication, maybe the quarterback Jordan Beller and his receivers weren't on the same page. He does have a lot of new receivers, one of those being Alan Lewis. Lewis, if you had any questions about him in the win over Lakeview, those were answered in the win over Wahoo Neumann. He had 5 catches for 126 yards, including one of the most beautiful fingertip catches you'll ever see a high school player make, as Jordan Beller threw the ball 10 of 15 times. If that makes any sense, he completed 10 of 15 passes for 194 yards. And Norfolk Catholic, for them, just like for Pierce, it doesn't get any easier because they play Boone Central this week. They actually have to travel to Boone Central this week. That's not an easy place to play. The Cardinals are not an easy team to play. Norfolk Catholic, I'm sure, would like a break from state-rated teams. They're not going to get it this week. It should be a heck of a game in Albion. But that's not the only good game on the slate. 8-man football, we get to see just how real, or for real, Marcus Clausen and the Wausau Whitey Vikings, I can't talk, and I'm really sorry for that, just how good Marcus Clausen and the Wausau Vikings are. Clausen had his hand in on 6 touchdowns in a 58-39 win over Emerson Hubbard last week. This week, they get to travel to perennial playoff contender Bancroft Rosalie. And we'll also have more live streaming for you this week when Wisner Pilger travels to Lutheran High Northeast. Now, the Eagles might be saying, yeah, we kind of get a step back this week. I don't know. The Gators tested Crofton pretty well. They were down only 21-7 at halftime. Quarterback Caleb Mock was 14 of 23 for 205 yards through the air. So you might want to check out that live stream because there's a chance you might see a pretty decent battle on the football field. Once again for The Buzz and for NorfolkDailyNews.com, I'm Tom Beamer.